Hey guys, welcome to FilmBlabber. We are a bunch of cinephiles and ordinary people, and we love chatting about movies.
Hey guys, welcome. So on this episode now, we've got A Woman Under the Influence, the 1974 film by John Cassavetes, written and directed by John Cassavetes. You know what? I have no words about how to sort of describe or summarize this film, because I want to say it's a slice of
Summarize it
life.
in one word. Summarize it in one word. Saying it's puckall. It's a puckall film you made me watch. Waste of my fucking time. I couldn't even finish it.
So, guys, that's a layman perspective. All of you who are not into movies, please take that to heart and please, right now, just switch it off. Please don't watch.
You awake?
Yeah.
I love you. How are you? You're funny.
Gaurav
Diving right
just
into the reviews. Diving right into the fucking analysis of this stupid movie.
Gaurav just went silent. He went, I need a drink break. Damn. Paro, that was crude, huh? That was like crude. Cool.
Sound like Gaurav made it. Okay, fine. Gaurav, continue with your glamorous introduction. I was just saying it as what it was. Go ahead.
Okay, it's basically it's a slice of life, sort of hyper real, sort of a drama, like a human drama, and it's about a woman.
Slice of life.
I know.
Bro, it's not slice of life.
This is slice of life.
I know.
This
I know.
happens to you every other day or what?
Bro, I died while watching it. It's not slice of life. Please.
I know. It's just so hard to summarize the film. I know, but it's not slice of life really. It's okay. Essentially, it's just about a mother and her psychological unraveling and the implications that her sort of unraveling has on her family and on herself, and sort of how it affects the people around her. So, guys, this film is obviously a cult classic by John Cassavetes, and Cassavetes has said something about this film. It's about, let me just read it. He said that, isn't it marvelous that you can make a picture that can scare 500 people out of the theater without having a moment of violence? And I think that in effect is just how this film is. It sort of summarizes the film better than I did. It's just that.
But one sec. Sorry to cut you off in your beautiful quote, but how is there no violence in this film? That guy beats the fuck out of his wife and kids whenever he feels like it. Did he slap his mother also once?
But no,
Didn't he
not slap
almost?
his mother.
Didn't he
Please
almost
don't.
pick a fight with the doctor?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Anyways, Gaurav, continue with it. Just go a little faster. Yeah, boring everyone.
Okay, you
boring
know
as the
what, guys?
movie was.
Let's just
Why
cut
are
to the
you
chase. Okay, let's just cut to the chase. It's a great film. But let's not treat it like a great film. You know what? Because Barod's clearly broken the ice. Okay, the gloves are off, Barod. It's over to you. Tell us why it's a shit film, Barod.
So okay. This is again layman's perspective who's not into filmmaking. I know that this movie will have some fucking underlying meaning to it, and yeah, this director's awesome and all
Yeah,
that
we
jazz.
know.
At the end, bro, I saw the movie in at least 5 parts because it became like a chore to me. Every day I used to watch like 10-20 minutes just to finish this stupid movie. Like the first time I watched it, I saw it for like 40 minutes because it was the first time. And I'm like, okay, it'll get interesting now. Okay, it'll get interesting now. And it just never it just got weirder by the second. Y'all tell me why y'all like this movie so much. And for 1 second, stop looking from a stupid filmy minds and just look at it from a normal person's point of view. Why is this movie worth watching? Why is it worth? I get why it's worth making. I get the message also. But how is it entertaining to any degree?
What's the message? Like, what do you think is the message for you?
I mean, it was like the very basic message that came out. I mean, the entire backdrop is of a very dysfunctional family, and I think the main message that came out to me was that when you start slowly losing your mind, like love can probably be the only thing that can get you back, which is what happened towards the end when she finally tucked her children in bed. She kind of came back to her normal senses. even though 6 months of that entire ward, the psychiatry ward, could not could not cure her. So that was the. So I think that what is the message according to you all?
Bro, honestly, this film is just such an accurate portrayal of life. It just holds a mirror that is so hard to look at. It's almost like there's too much truth here, and the truth is in your face, and it's so jarring that you want to turn away, but it doesn't let you turn away. It's that sort of a film. It's a sort of film where you don't want it to be true. You don't want these things to be happening, and yet they're happening, and yet you feel like it's just like a multitude of emotions. On the one hand, you're like, it's beautiful, and it's heartbreaking, and it's true, and it's honest, and it's just very saddening. So I felt all of these emotions while watching it, and I stuck with the film, and I would want to watch the film again, because it's very rare for a filmmaker to take a film like this with characters, like you said, that aren't very consistent from time to time, that have these outbursts in both of them, and to put them on screen and to show them this. Because I know characters like this. I know people like this. I know that because behind the thing is, behind closed doors, we don't ever see each other's family. Your family, or the way they are, only you know, and the way that my family is, only I know. There's no one that has that sort of a magnifying glass to them, and it's very rare for that person who has studied these things in his own family to put out something that is so personal. It's almost like you're bearing a part of your soul when you put such a film out, because there has to be the roots, or where it draws from has only to be from one place, which is from your own life. You cannot draw from anywhere. This cannot come from imagination. It's just a very close look at life itself.
I did remember feeling that this is a very shitty situation, and I understood that it's a very real portrayal of life. In fact, even when I was reading up on the director, yeah, he's apparently known for that as well, right? If I'm not wrong, he's known for bringing out very real scenarios in terms of what life really is and holding that glass and everything. But I mean that was the only thing I felt. I'm like, this is a
Holding
damn
which
sad
glass?
situation. A mirror, mirror. I meant a mirror. Sorry, and I think the only thing I felt was that, okay, for somebody to go through that, now, like it's a very painful thing, because like my grandfather also went through the Alzheimer's. So that time, I mean, and I was very small that time, but I remember seeing what like my parents had to go through and all of that. So and I think we all three have had situations with someone in a house going through something with regard to the mind, and it's a very tricky situation to deal with. So that I definitely felt that, like that empathy and that nostalgia, whatever, combine it, and whatever fuck all cocktail that gives. Other than that, but that I would have felt like that's. I think I felt that because I've been through it, and that's a very natural feeling.
So I sat through it. I watched it in one go. And after like 20, 30 minutes into the film, I could not shut it. And I don't think I can put into words what I really liked. I was for sure not entertained. I think I was not happy to watch it, but I was really sucked into the eccentricity of the whole world, which he created. It was such a non-normal world. It was so maddening that I just wanted to know the end. So when she came back from the hospital, I was actually looking forward to, okay, will she be okay now? Because the whole empathy with the kids, that really got to me, that those kids are having to suffer because of all of this. My heart was there, and I was just like looking forward to when will she get better, and then she doesn't get better at the end. Finally, by tucking her bed, like tucking the kids into her bed, she finally, probably comes back to sanity. But at the end, I was amazed at point A. What I really liked was, bro, I think this is the first film where where I've been so where it's not a documentary, it's a proper fiction film, which I couldn't believe is not real. What really stood out for me is that how can somebody artificially creates a world that in that frame of the camera comes out to be so real that it reminds you of your own life, um, your own life's truth in a way, that I also saw that the woman, of course, she's a little she's struggling with some mental illness, but I had a lot of hopes from the guy, that he'll be a good father, or he'll balance it out. But then there are bursts of him which are equally crazy. He gives his children beer to drink, and saying that only
Oh
once they
yeah,
drink it.
what was that, bro?
What
By
was
the
that?
end
I
of
was
it, the kids were tripping.
drunk. They were drunk. It was crazy. And that's when I realized, and even the fact that when she's coming back from the hospital, this guy calls everybody home. I mean, she's not coming back, like I'm sure, like she'll need, that's common sense. She'll need her space. She's coming back from a mental institution. So this character also, like, I got to know that this character is also kind of little,
Unreliable.
unreliable. That's a great word.
Yeah, I honestly think, uh, we were talking about the themes and we couldn't really lay a finger on it. But essentially, how I see it is that it's about asking a question. It's about, like asking the question about, what is sanity and what is insanity, and where is this line that we draw, and what really defines normal behavior. And it's almost like, if you stare at a person long enough and if you know them for long enough, it's almost like any of us is mentally ill, or any of us could have that glitch in our brain, that we are sort of going for all those idiosyncrasies that we all tend to have, and this woman has as well, and so does the husband.
But like, there might be different things, the different circumstances where we might come off as weird. But the fact that only the people who can accept it can really cure it in a way. That's what I thought he was going for, because the whole film is about this struggle of curing this girl, this woman, not the girl, the woman, the mother, the wife, curing her, even her mother-in-law. She's really harsh to her, and but everybody's intention is that she needs to get better. But at the end, she really gets better once she is accepted by her children, just as she is.
Do you think she got better?
That's what I'm saying.
In the moment, in the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it definitely did subside for that moment. She became a lot more livable,
Yeah,
human, like normal.
yeah. No, I don't think she gets better right till the end. Even when she's back, she really doesn't get. She really doesn't get better. She has these swings of sort of swinging between her like these phases that she has, you know, and then she comes back to reality, and it's almost like a different person. But then she always goes back, even after coming back from the hospital. It's almost like when she sort of meets her children, the scene where she sort of meets her children after coming back from the hospital. She's just like, I shouldn't get more excited. Don't let me get excited. She meets her children, and you can tell that this means the world to her to finally see them after that time in the hospital. But she doesn't want to show it. Somewhere she's holding herself from being that woman that she is. So I think we can just talk about Mabel as a character, because she is one of the most complex characters ever put on film. Like one of the most greatest performances by Gina Rollins. And I just want to discuss what you all think of her character.
Yeah.
Bro, so I just remember this one scene, it just doesn't leave me since the time I've watched it, is that he gets all his co-workers for lunch, and they're having spaghetti, and she's sitting there, and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
one by one she's asking, what's her name, and we kind of know that Gaurav, I don't know if this answers your question, but I'm just sharing something, is that we kind of know that it's not the first time she's meeting them, but she's kind of forgotten, already. That's what I got. She was smiling, she was being very courteous, and she was being very normal in her own way. And I think that, like, I understood that from Mabel's point of view, But somehow in that scene, I also knew what's going on around her. Like the people, what are they thinking around her? They're thinking she's crack. She's a crackhead. She might go out of the line any moment. That's what everybody around is thinking. Her husband is kind of being nice. He's kind of accepting the way she is, and everybody knows that there's something wrong with her. Everybody was having fun in some way at her expense. She has made the food. She is this woman of the house and everything, and she was the one who was kind of left out, and that was a little heartbreaking, but that kind of defined her character for me. Like, she was that, bro. She was trying to be the best, but she couldn't help herself.
Yeah, she was. I think she was like always trying to mm, please everybody, trying to do the best she could, trying to
Yeah,
make sure that she's a good mother, good husband, good friend, and failing at all of it, even in spite of her intentions.
Yeah.
yeah, and she always sort of, in this one scene, she just says she only wants to be nice. Her entire
Yeah.
sort of, she wants to be. She loves her children so much, and there's this desire in her to sort of fit in, but she just doesn't know how to. She just doesn't know how to reach out. There's just this lapse in communication that she feels when it comes to just being. And I don't know. Okay, so what do you all think about her husband then? Him as a character, because if she's complex, he is equally, if not more, complex as a character.
Yeah, like I remember that scene where he takes his kids to the beach. Forget the beer thing also, but the way he's
The
chilling,
girl, the girl
he's
ran.
chilling.
Remember that?
Dude, the girl is a separate topic. We'll get to the girl. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a
it's so
whole.
cute.
But that was my favorite part of the whole movie was that girl, dude.
Yeah.
But that guy and like the way he was like being like, you know we're here to have a good time, aren't we having a good time? Let's just fucking do this, do that. And like he's so angry at the whole situation that he created for himself. And it as they like talk about like being a complex character, like you never know what ticked him out. Like I never expected his outbursts. Because at every scene started off with him trying to hold everything together. At
Yeah.
some point, the fucker would just snap, dude.
Yeah.
And very weird things, dude. Like I don't know why he didn't let that kid play in the sandcastle. Like why couldn't she do that? Why did they have to have beer? And at the same time, but even his intentions, maybe he was like that because he couldn't understand his wife's behavior. Maybe that was bothering him. But because even his overall behavior as a person in the first scene where he stands up for for his entire team, and he tells those guys that we're not going to work overtime, and that he's genuinely upset about missing the night with his wife and all of that. Like it's a very like it was a in that sense it was a good. You're like making me like the movie by making me talk about it.
Yeah. Again, like I even like with both of them, I feel like like their intentions are so good, and yet it seems just seems like they are up over their heads. Like in spite of their
Yeah.
best efforts, just things don't seem to be working out. And he is also a character that has a bit of that touch of, I don't want to call it insanity, but he's not right either. He's not right either in his mind. Just the way, like you were saying, him sort of handing beer off to his kids, or sort of dragging his kids to the
Yeah.
beach, and and when his kids actually want to go and play,
From
he's like,
the
no, let me have fun. Let's have fun, and sort of drags his daughter in the other
he
direction.
took them off half a day. They were at school. He stops, like he just takes them off half a day from school, and the principal is like, "Are they gonna come back tomorrow?"
Yeah,
That
and
was crazy.
his attempt at control is just so brash. Like there are scenes where his wife is sort of acting crazy, and then he's like, you know what, act normal. And then you know what, she acts normal, and then he's like, you know what, be yourself. And she's like, and you can tell that you have no idea what this guy wants. His attempt at controlling things is so skewed, and in spite of all that raging, he's just so helpless as a guy. He is up over his head. He has no idea how to deal with the situation, how to deal with his wife, how to be a father. he just has no clue. It's just these two people are absolutely clueless about life, and they're just like bumbling their way through. But again, now you know what we've made this sort of contrast between Mabel's character and Nick's character, and we sort of agree that they both are slightly ill, right, in their heads. They're not completely right. If we agree on that, then we can talk about why is it that sort of she got sent to the hospital and why not him? And does this say something about what Cassavetes was going for? Is it necessarily is it a woman thing that she sort of gets told off because she's not able to do these sort of typical woman things, which is like sort of be a mother or be caring or just be normal or stay within the sort of confines that are given to her, and because she steps out of it, she's sort of chucked into the hospital, while he, even though he of course has these like raving outbursts and is clearly a terrible, not a terrible, I mean not intentionally a terrible father, but
Terrible. It is terrible. Yeah, he is terrible. Please let me put that. He is a fucking terrible father.
I don't think he's a
Fucking
terrible father. But my point is he is just as bad as her, and yet he's the one who gets to stay and in fact make the judgment on her. So what do you all think about
Hmm.
this? I mean, is this a man woman thing? Was Cassavetes sort of going for this? Because I think he was. I think there was like this was completely intentional.
I definitely see a man woman thing there. I definitely see the the patriarchy playing out how it does, because there is this one dialogue also at the starting of Peter Falk's character, that he says, she cooks, she cleans, she takes care of the children, she does everything.
Yeah.
She's a normal woman. I mean, the question then is that all that a woman is all about? Is that it? So I just feel that the world that John Cassavetes is trying to portray is kind of so grounded in patriarchy that it's a very normal thing. I mean, to hit a woman in that world is not that big a thing than it is for a woman to to lash out at her mother-in-law. That's what he's portrayed the world, and I think I'm not sure if that is very conscious of him to do it. That hey, this is wrong, and this is how this should be called out, because I didn't see him calling it out anywhere. This patriarchy and this misogyny was never challenged in the film. So I just felt, I'm not sure if he did it consciously or not.
Yeah, no, I definitely seeing it. I see it playing out. I feel like she's constantly like she's asking for people to sort of understand her, and no one seems to be listening to her, and there's just no one who can help her. You know
Yeah.
why this film is so heartbreaking is that at the end there's no one that can help her. There's just no one that can help her. She's gone to the hospital, she's been there for months on end, she comes back,
Bro, I'm
and
so sorry to cut you, but just let me just sneak in a little bit about the doctor scene. Remember when the doctor comes in for the first time? That was the first time I felt somebody, I just felt comfortable looking at a character on screen. The doctor. Probably he might save her, but bro, he fails so miserably. So yeah, I think you've totally nailed it there.
yeah, I also feel like stories go, stories are made out of these arcs, and the arc is basically there's a character, the character has a flaw, it goes through a story, goes through all these obstacles, comes out a more wiser sort of a character. It has this character arc that is, I've learned from this, and that's how stories are made. That's like the fundamental formula for stories is you have something in you, you face something, you learn something, you come out of it a better person, a stronger person. And the tragedy of this film is she goes through so much, and she comes out the exact same. She's just that much of a broken person at the end as she is at the start. And and which is why, like, we keep saying it's so true, because there is no definitive end in life. There is no story arc to life. There is no us trying to get better and us trying to get a wiser sort of an ending in life. Life is just one long meandering length of time, and we are here for that.
Yeah, no, bro. I actually don't agree with that. I feel the film definitely had a very definitive structure, and the change even I was thinking about the same point. I just felt the change that we were looking for in a story, that change happened in the end for sure. But that change I felt was for the husband, Peter Falk's character, basically Nick. He he starts off as somebody who can't accept his own wife being a little crazy, with her whole mental problems. And by the end of it, I could see him that he has accepted the way she is, her the way she is. She might be just as crazy as she was at the start of it. By the end of it, for sure, that thing hasn't changed in her character, but the man has definitely become more accepting.
You know what? Honestly, I'm not sure if he accepts her more than he accepts her in the beginning. Like even in the beginning, when one of his workmates sort of tells him that she's a sensitive woman, he says, "You know what? She's not crazy. She's slightly different, but she's not crazy. She has her moods, but she's not crazy." So he stands up for her. So I think he has her acceptance right at the start, and he has it till the end. I honestly feel like at the end, it's almost like Cassavetes is like, you know what? There are these two people, and they're both messed up, but there's that hope. They are living in hope of things will get better, and that's why another reason why it's so sad is also because that hope is so false. Now we know things might actually not get better. They might live their whole lives just like this. There's this contrast in this movie, and there are these two sets of people. There's the adults, and then there's the children. And you would feel like the adults are supposed to be more clever, and yet I feel like these two parents are trying to be adults. They are play acting adults. It's almost like they don't know what it is to be an adult, and they're acting it out. It's almost like there are these two kids that they're playing house with these three parents, these three sort of children with them. It even Mabel's character, instead of being a mom, what I feel she actually wants to do, she just wants to be one of her kids. Like she genuinely wants to be one of her kids. She doesn't think of herself as a mom. And even Nick's character, on the other hand, even though he's a dad, he feels like he should be acting a certain way. So when he's shouting at them, I almost feel like, you know what? He thinks this is what a dad is supposed to do. He really has no clue. They both have no clue about what it is to actually be an adult. They are just acting out. There's a pretense going on, and they are pretending to be people that know better, but they both really don't. What do you all think about that?
Yeah, it's a
Bro,
very cool observation.
Yeah, it's a great observation. I think I also think it's very personal to you. Like, I mean, it didn't come across to me that way, but the way you put it is great. But like, just coming back to your previous point about this guy telling everybody, taking her side and accepting her. There, I just thought that at the start of the film, wherever he's saying that she's fine and all, he's saying it to other people. So in society with other people, he's trying to put up a face that my wife is not a crackhead, like she's fine. I think that's what he's trying to do. And in that, his insecurity of letting the world know that we have issues, that's totally fine. That really builds up throughout the movie. I think by really talking about that, I think I've got to the point to realize that the main conflict of the film was that this man trying to deal with his family situation, which is a little fucked in a way that it's not very, he doesn't live in a normal family, and the people outside really finding that out and judging him on that.
So many great scenes in this movie. Yeah, when she's out.
My
in the yard,
yawns are a reflection of how boring all those scenes were.
when she's out in the yard, and like she's doing this swan lake thing, and like all her kids sort of fall dead, and then there's this guy who's absolutely like, he's just like, what have I gotten into? Okay.
Bro, I feel for that guy.
And
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He's brought his kids over here. It's scary. That was scary for me.
Yeah, and even the first scene with the guy who comes in and sleeps or doesn't sleep. What
Yeah, he
was
sleeps.
that
I think he
about?
sleeps.
he definitely.
Yeah,
That was also
exactly.
so strange.
Why
That
was it
was,
strange?
Because, bro, Gaurav, okay, I'll tell you why I found it strange is because she had a call with Nick, okay, and Nick said, I can't come home. She's at home. From the first scene, we get it, something is off with her, when she's sending her kids off. By that time, I'm not sure that she's completely crazy, okay, or she has some issue. I have a hint, I'm not sure. She walks into a bar, she's acting with this stranger as if she knows him since ages. And they go to her house, and then the next morning she's calling him by some other random name, which I get to know that that name is her husband's name. And isn't that
And more
strange?
than that, dude, more than that, when she gets the guy home, she fends him off eventually.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
she
yeah.
uh, and they still sleep together. Like, apparently they sleep together, and the next day the guy goes like, "Hey, it's not my fault." Yeah, what is not your like? It wasn't.
It
Isn't
was
that rape? Isn't
no,
that
so
like?
so yeah, exactly. So that was a moment where I thought, is it rape happening? But in the morning when she woke up, that's
Yeah,
where it
it
didn't
felt
match
so
up.
normal.
Yeah, this is a little more technical, but I feel like even the way that he writes these things, often they're discontinuous. You don't really know exactly what's happening. And it makes me feel like this whole system of continuity is a little overrated because one moment she's standing up on the couch, the next she's down, the next the doctor's injecting her, the next she's over there, and there's just the whole film you're on a wrong foot, and I feel like this could be either that what he maybe Cassavetes doesn't really care about continuity, or it's just like a genius sort of stroke of genius where he's just like, I'm going to create this edit which just keeps you jarred all the time, and the audience is going to feel off, and I'm going to create a film that's going to put you in her mind. Kush is laughing because he clearly thinks I'm going overboard with my reading of it.
No. I'm like, you can totally do that, but I'm just saying anybody can just do anything on film, and just we can
Yeah,
call it genius because we didn't get it. I mean, that's definitely one way of
that's how
what
Nolan makes his money, dude. Fucking does anything.
he doesn't care what the world thinks. I'm gonna make Tenet. I didn't understand Tenet, but anyway, we're not talking about Tenet. But bro, yeah, I just think it's cool if I'm dumb, but I actually it didn't. So continuity, like the way I look at it, is that it's cause and effect. Okay, like something happened, and because of that, something has happened. So it made sense, not just short continuity. So I think that continuity, as you said, that was a little non-linear, and it can also be probably because I've not watched a lot of new wave French cinema. This is the first film that I saw, kind of, which is a little that style. So probably because of that. But yeah, I've definitely found something jarring over there. That what happened? Like what was it all about? That was there.
Yeah. And okay, what do you all think? So I want to get. I think we can wrap up now, but I wanted to talk about a little bit about the camera work of it because this is something else that I found like
Yeah,
very
fuck.
mesmerizing.
I also wanted to talk about this, although I have no idea how it works. I found it so weird, dude. I kept trying to zoom out because I was on my phone. Like, why is it so zoomed in? Like, am I not supposed to see more? Like, there was this one scene where I think is she holding her kids or something like that, and it's just zoomed to her face. Show is the kid there? Is he getting choked? What is happening there, dude? Like, I didn't, I didn't get it.
Yeah,
I again,
it's
that was also disturbing. That was also, I
it's
just found it weird.
I I I found it beautiful because it's just this camera
Such
and
a stark difference.
and it's
But
it's
that's fun, bro. That's
it's
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
handheld, and it's just trained on the people's faces. It's just trained, like Bharat was saying, and rightly also he was saying, like the scene, which is a very important scene of her sort of meeting her children after 6 months. You would think that you would want to see the children, or like at least you would have the children's faces in the shot. But there's just this one close shot of her entering the room, and we don't know if she's hugging them. But of course, the audio tells us that it's her kids that she's hugging them. But you would expect to see it. You would expect the kids to be seen, the faces to be seen in that sort of a shot, or even the shot where she sort of climbs up on the sofa and she's sort of dancing on the sofa. We don't really know if she's actually on the sofa. We don't know what she's climbed onto. We didn't see her climbing onto because that was a slight jump in continuity. But we just know that she's up there, and the camera just seems to like be very close to them and almost like swivel and be slightly shabby.
Because I remember this one shot where uh, Mabel's character is sitting outside in the cab and everybody's leaving. Okay, she's come back from the hospital. We don't see her in the cab. Okay, we are very far away. We see the car. She's probably inside. We don't know how she's looking after 6 months and all of that. and somebody else walks ahead of her, then she, finally walks behind. I just felt that brought out this emotional response for me, that I want to see how she's looking. Is she fine? Has she finally recovered? Will she go and meet her children and have a good family life? That one shot did that to me, and I think that was very powerful. But rest, I was I was like, nothing phenomenal that really like stood out for me. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's what I have, guys. Any parting thoughts? Any final thoughts? Or do you want to bitch a little more? Like you won't get to bitch about it afterwards.
No, I don't have any other thoughts. I mean, I feel after I hear your beautiful, perspective on this retarded movie. Okay, retarded is the wrong word.
Oh, damn.
On this weird
How much
movie.
should we cut out? Let's just cut the whole
I'll
thing.
just repeat the sentence. After having the beautiful perspective of yours on this very strange movie, it made me also get a little like, okay, cool. Yeah, I guess I sold it too short, as in that I couldn't see what you saw from it for it.
Great. Parv's had character development over this podcast.
I've had character, unlike the characters of the film.
Bro, but I just want to say that, like with this film, I realized that he did so much in such little resources. He just had that one house. He had a couple of shots of, the mine or something like that, wherever these people work. And it was normal streets.
The
It was
house
very,
is a world of its own. That house is, I
Yeah.
don't know, like they're climbing down the stairs. There's this door called private, which people keep going into. Like it's called private, but people just entered all the time.
everybody knocks. Everybody knocks. And they have the bed inside of the dining room. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
There's a dining table, they have a bed inside. I'm like, what? It just felt so it did make me feel very uncomfortable and very morose by the end of it. And I think being able to do that with such little resources, I think that was really something that I'd like to take back. That if I ever want to make a film, I do not need to think I do not have enough resources. I can do it. I just need to have the vision. That's what I got from it.
Yeah, he did it with film students, apparently. He hired these film students and he didn't really pay them, but he got the film.
So Gaur, will you
Yes,
start my next film?
that's
you
how
a film
Kushraj is gonna say.
I'm gonna-
This cheap fuck is gonna make us the movies the same way. He'll
Gaurav,
get funding, he'll still pocket it.
Yeah, Gaurav, sending you the script to act in my film.
Okay.
So, guys, thanks so much for watching this. Next week, we're going to be talking about Sound of Metal. So, please tune in, please subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, cool. See y'all.